Good morning, stamping friends. This is Jenny from Celebrate the Journey, and I'm joining you today on the Global Inspiration Stamp Team page. That's a lot of words to get out this early. It's early in the morning for us here in Mountain Time, and probably afternoon for you in depending on where you are. That's a lot of words. Sorry, I had my computer on volume, so got that taken care of. Okay, so we've had some really great videos this week. I hope everybody's enjoyed picking up a few hints for the holidays, and we have a couple more days left, so don't stop watching. Remember, you can sign up for notifications if you want, so your Facebook will alert you, and otherwise you can just pop in 2 or 3 times during the day and catch either replays or live videos. So I chose to use this set, which is a little tricky to come up with some ideas for, so I thought I'd at least hopefully I can inspire you to think about it. It's called Light and Wonder, and I decided that it would work really nice for Happy New Year's cards. Now, I know most people send Christmas cards, but we occasionally send a Happy New Year card, and any of these cards that any of us have shown can be adapted for birthdays, Christmas, most any sympathy, any card sending occasion. So we're going to use it to make a Happy New Year card. And I also am using words for the season for the inside. Let's toast to yesterday's achievements and tomorrow's bright future. I thought that kind of sounded Happy New Year-ish. You might have a different set in mind for a New Year card. I don't know. Now, Light and Wonder comes with this stamp. Of course, these words, love, light, wonder, magic, you can use those for lots of occasions. And then it has some dies. Mine are pretty messy in here right now. Some large trees. I think they're like evergreens. Some small ish evergreens, like a landscape, mountainous, depending on which way you turn it. It works several different ways. This, I believe, is more like water with some waves in it. I have not used that one yet. And this one the same. This gives you some reflection on the water, and then some nice clouds. So we will be using a few of these today. I'll put them over to the side so we can grab them pretty easy. Let's see what I've got. Too much stuff on my desktop as usual. Sometimes, I get it so full of stuff I'm working in. You ever had that? So we'll move some around. We don't need this out. We've got our stamps already, so we'll put that to the side. I will give you the measurements quickly, but of course they will be on the inspiration project sheet that we have for you if you place an order with your demonstrator. I did forget to introduce myself. I've been a demonstrator for 15 years. It's hard to believe that. Maybe it's actually 16. It's hard to keep up with. And I live in Colorado. Of course, you're going to hear a Southern accent because I've lived in Georgia most of my life. So don't get confused. Fall is almost here, so I'm excited about that. This is the card we're going to make. This uses the Light and Wonder stamp set. Well, it uses the whole bundle, part of the suite. This is called Aurora Lights of Aurora Designer Series paper. This glimmer paper is from the Peaceful Garden, but you can buy it separate, of course. So it's Misty Moonlight, Cloud Cover, and then the other color, I think it's a bright, it might be blueberry. I'm not sure what the package said on that one. So it has 3 colors of glimmer paper. And then the embellishments are frosted iridescent gems. And they're kind of a pool party, maybe petunia pop. That could either be Gorgeous Grape or Fresh Freesia. And then this is Cloud Cover, which is really kind of just clear-ish. It's got a little bluish tint, but not as much as the Pool Party. Now the DSP Aurora Lights, or Lights of, it's a little different than some of ours. It's 6 by 6, and you get about 5 of each. It's either 4 or 5, which usually I don't think we get, but maybe 3 or 4 of each pattern. So they're different patterns of the Aurora Borealis look. Isn't that one gorgeous? But they're easily used for water, sky. I forgot, I don't know if I showed you that on the back. You could use that with soft sky. Purple. Look at that. That one's gorgeous. I got the pink. I might have shown you this one already. And this one. And this is the one we're using today. So I cut this piece here at 5 1/4 by 4. Now let's look at the layers here. So we have Blackberry Bliss card base, and of course this is, not of course, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. And that's, you know, I don't think, I'm not sure I cut an inside piece, but we'll work on that. So that's our card base. Then I have Coastal Cabana, and that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then we have our DSP, like I said, is 4 by 5 1/4. So it just gives a little layer there. Now I'm going to heat emboss this. So I want to do that first, just in case I mess it up and I have to cut another piece of paper. I don't want to start putting it together and then have it all mixed up. Let's get out the heat gun. And we have our embossing buddy. These stamps are photopolymer, so we need the matte under them. And we need our Versamark. And this says, wishing you a year of, and then we're going to stamp the word light on a piece of basic white. Now, of course, you could say a year of wonder. That's also a good Happy New Year sentiment, or a year of love. I think all these work fine. And let's see, we'll put that. We want it on the darker area because it'll show, it'll stand out better. I think that looks fairly straight, so we'll hopefully go with that. And I'm going to emboss this with the white. I think it's called Bright White. This is our newer embossing powder that I really like. I think it's a finer texture than our older embossing powders. Looks pretty good. We will get a little paintbrush here. Just pick up some inexpensive paintbrushes at maybe your dollar store. It helps to brush off any extra embossing powder. Plus you can use it to tap it off too. Okay, we're ready now. I'm sorry, this will be a little loud, but not too bad, so. I usually heat up the back a little bit too, just to make sure that embossing powder is adhered real well to the paper. Do you know that you can heat it up too much and then it doesn't look shiny anymore? So be careful not to overheat your embossing powder. So we're ready with this. So we want to go ahead and start cutting our trees and our landscape design. So we have our first, we're going to do cloud cover with the silvery looking paper. I know, you know, it kind of looks like silver, but it's really got that hint of blue. Thank you for popping in, Sharon. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I think we can probably cut both pieces at the same time. And so we're going to use the Misty Moonlight and cut some mountains. I want to make sure I have that, the larger mountain or hump, whatever we want to call it. And we want to get it to where we have just enough for the bottom of our card. Hopefully we lined that up. Let's see. I think that'll be fine. So we can run both of these at the same time. Usually when it's glimmer paper, I'll run it both ways just to make sure we get a good cut. And definitely, if you use the mini cut and emboss, both of these would fit as long as you do it lengthwise. Now, if you've got this here, that's the one we're going to use, but you also have this one that you could use on another card. It would look pretty too. So we won't throw that one away. We'll save that one. I need to snip this. If you're like me, I'll save this for some stars. Or we don't let glimmer paper go to waste. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this just at the bottom so that we can nestle our trees behind it. And it's this would probably do well with Tombow, but I'm going to use tear and tape just to keep it secure. Oh, well, thanks, Sharon. It's always nice to know. All of us appreciate knowing that people enjoy us. I don't think I'm going to need that, right? We need but a little tiny piece there. I hate to tell you, though, sometimes I'm just a hot mess, but I think we all have that on our crafting days. Now, let's see, we want this one, that way. I'm glad I put that little extra tape there. And now we can turn that over and snip it off. Now, to get our trees behind here, we're going to do some surgery, as we don't need that whole length for our card. It's about the closest I'll ever get to being a surgeon. Now we can slide that back there and just see how we feel about the way our trees are. I think that looks really nice. I'm going to trim this down. This is one of those that not necessarily exact measurements, because each one's going to be slightly different depending on how you die cut it. I think these pieces that I cut to do the glimmer paper were just a little over 2 inches. Now that looks like that'll work fine, so we'll just pull them back out and add some Tombow. Isn't this glimmer paper amazing? You know, I wish I could wear glittery clothes every day and pretend to be a princess or whatever. I'm into glitter. Remember when we really did have glitter? I think it was called glitter paper. It was much thicker and much rougher, and the glitter went everywhere. It was all over your house and your hands and in your hair. And now this new glimmer paper is so amazing because it does not shed. And that makes it so much better. Now this is one little thing I tend to do. I don't want my trees to snag too much getting in the envelope. So I usually just put a little glue on a piece of scrap paper and just slide it behind there and let the tree or the image pick up just a little bit of glue, and then it'll stick it down. That can be one of my tips for today. Save that scrap paper. Now they won't snag on your card. Now we're going to do the same for our mountainous region. With it can be a little thicker glue. I'll just run that behind there. A little bit back here. Okay, I think that's about ready to go. You know what? I'm going to put this ink pad on here. Hold it down for a minute while I get all this glue out of here. Put our looks pretty good. Okay, so now we can put this on. Go ahead and put it on our Coastal Cabana. You know, I picked Coastal Cabana. I think you could use Pool Party, maybe Summer Splash. Well, since we used the blue blackberry bushel, I don't think you'd want to use a darker one, but anyone, you could use even white there. That would look fine for your layers. Different people like different things. Thank goodness we're not all the same. Sometimes I like white for a crisp look. Nice. Okay, now let's see if I remember. I said I'm not sure I remembered to cut an inside piece. I don't think I did. So, oh yeah, I did. Here it is. That's right in front of me. So when I cut this paper here to 4 inches, then I had this paper left to use, and so I used that for the inside, and I went ahead and pre-cut these for you. So I went ahead and I cut some trees there. But let's go ahead and put our sentiment before, in case we need that. And this one is, let's toast yesterday's achievements and celebrate tomorrow. I am always afraid I am going to mess that up. 2 sides of paper. So we can go ahead and do our light to go on the front. We're almost through. I love an easy card. Sometimes I really like the super fancy folds, die cuts, but this one, you can't always do that, can you? So we're probably going to do some surgery again here. This works to cut it just right in the middle where that, I think where they think the your water reflection would go. And we'll go ahead and put our Coastal Cabana piece there. Trim, I can see, there we go, trim that off. Thanks for popping in, Noreen. A little late, fine. Sometimes I don't get there until 2 or 3 hours late, you know. And we're going to slide this behind here. We can do that one. To get it to snug down in there. There we go. I think I'm going to let these be fluffy trees, though. It won't hurt on the inside, will it? We can cut off one entire pine tree there. And let's see, I need another piece of scrap. I probably can trim this off of here. We don't need all of that. We'll run a little glue behind there. Maybe there's another way to do this. If you try to put glue behind things, tell me how you do it. Maybe if I have one of those little fine tip glue pens, which I think about getting. I'll go ahead and put that on the inside. Those trees look like they're in the shadows now. This is a good way to use up the paper. We don't let things go to waste. Now we need our word light. I wish they had a die for this one, but we're going to fussy cut it. It's not too hard. Because it's a pretty big image, and that helps. Now, you know, when you're fussy cutting, you move the paper and not the scissors. So you will get a smoother cut. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a handcrafted card. I saved the intricate parts for last. This would not be a card that I made 50 of, but I probably could make, well, 10 for Happy New Year's to send to friends. Now we'll get down in here. Still have a little nub there. There we go. We don't want to separate our L from the rest of the letters, so we'll leave that kind of connected up at the top there. Around the corner. Oh gosh, I sure could have started on this one sooner, huh? But then we'll be okay. Ooh, almost snipped that too much. Almost done. Now, some people might leave this one, but I think it looks nicer to go ahead and have it cut if possible. We can do it, even though I got shaky hands. Just testing my eyesight today. One more little snip. There we go. Now, if you're not happy with some of the rough, kind of rough looking edges, I just get out an old emery board and kind of polish them off. Just a little light brush will take care of that you might not care for. I can guarantee you whoever gets your card is not going to notice it, even if you don't do that. Okay, so we're ready to put that on. Of course, we're going to need to put it on with dimensionals. We're going to cut some mini dimensionals in half. So they'll be pretty tiny. I could have run that through with adhesive sheets and just let it stick right to the glimmer paper, but I do like dimensionals sometimes. That one didn't get cut. There we go. This is when I need my tweezers, don't I? And I'm going to cut a little slim piece off of the edge. And we need one over there. I think that's going to hold it pretty good. My eyes are going to be tired after all this little bitty stuff. This is a pretty card. I love the colors. I shouldn't say that to myself, but I do like pretty cards. Okay, so that was our Happy New Year card. We need, of course, add some of the iridescent gems. Let's put those on there. I think I'm going to use the pink color. We haven't brought out a whole lot of the pink here. I wish I could see the northern lights, maybe one day. Of course, if you would try to, you know, do those tours and stuff, they don't guarantee that nature's going to cooperate. So you have to decide if you're willing to do that. So there's the card from today. Let's get rid of this foolishness over here, and I'll share some alternate cards that I created, just to give you some more inspiration. I saw this little mini flap card, and I thought how cute that would be. So I made that into a birthday card. I used the clouds, and I used the masking tape to adhesive masking sheets that we have so that the clouds wouldn't be white. And this time I matched it with Pool Party. I thought that came out sweet. And then I love white cards, but I'm never very good at making them. So I started out making a white card, and I didn't like it. So I added some blue. And I used the back side of one of the DSPs to give that shaded blue. And then I did the white trees, the white clouds, and the cloud cover. I have Christmas wishes. And I don't know if you can tell, there's Wink of Stella on the snow a lot. I flipped it, and then I also, you know, painted it. And look at these extra low mountains that they're clouds. I wanted it to look like piles of snow. A couple years ago, I found this really silly looking mermaid frame art piece at the Dollar Tree. I guess it was for a little girl's room, but I only bought it because it had this glitter frame. And I thought, well, someday I will be able to make something with that glitter frame. And so I took the mermaid out of the box, out of the frame, and I made this little art piece to sit around. And during the holidays, I think that's fun. So I used the cloud cover and the misty moonlight, and then a different piece of DSP. Do you see these little sparkles there? These are the metallic rub-ons that you might have missed. They're in the catalog. So I just cut out some of the metallic rub-ons. You peel this little piece of plastic off, and then you just rub on the design. I've loved these things. They give just a little hint of sparkle. It's so cute. And they come in the silver and gold. So that's my little art inspiration and my 3 cards. So thanks for joining me today. And check back today because I have some helpful hints for you during the day. And they'll be up before the end of the night. You know how that goes. We'll get it done. I will talk to you later. Thank you.